This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yesy. There you go. A lot of stuff. How are you? Today is Monday, August the 14th of 2023, day 139th of the year. And only, well, hold on, that's a lie. It's day 226 of the year now. There's only 139 days left to go. Anyways, how are you? How was your weekend? Did you do anything exciting? Did you get excited about life? Did things pop in the way that you wanted them to? Hopefully they did. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Oh, radio and sarcasm. Does it really get any better than that? So there you go. Anyway, so a lot of stuff as we hang out on this Level A show, so don't worry about that. We talk about safety in the news and safety. You can interact with the show by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. They'll get everything moving and grooving for you. That's kind of the easiest way of doing stuff. So just a little info there in regards of what goes on. Also, we're streaming on the apps, Radio Big, Safety FM. We're also on, the Twitches of the world, the Rumbles of the world, the YouTubes of the world, social media such as, Facebook, Insta, all that other that you can watch us on if you wanted to. It's an option. It's not always a perfect option, but it's an option. We're radio first, podcasting second, and kind of go from there. That's always been the lay of the land. So take a look at it from that particular scenario. It's probably the best way to think about it. So with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what was trending, because that's going to be the easiest way to do it.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so what's on tap for today? Sam Bankman-Fried is in jail before his October trial, and an unwanted delicacy is hidden inside of a bag of leafy greens. We'll talk about that. Morgan Wallen has a nude too. I don't know why that's important. And Kevin Costner says that he's officially a Swiftie. And there is more drama surrounding the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and it turns out that Wonder Woman film is not in the works after it's been talked about that it was. We'll also talk about some things that we need to talk about, alignments, so we'll talk about that today, all on this lovely, lovely show, because that's what we do. So, with that being said, I have some pro broadcasters that are waiting out in the wings, people like Trey Thomas, who are waiting to talk and let you know what the hell's going on inside of the world of the news. So why don't we do that right now?
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Trey Thomas. Hawaii Governor Josh Green fears the wildfire death toll will rise as search and recovery efforts continue on Maui. At least 93 people are confirmed dead after raging wildfires swept through the popular resort town of Lahaina.
We're still recovering the tragic loss of life and the bodies that were previously our beloved people.
Green described the devastation as looking like a war zone. Hundreds are unaccounted for, and thousands are now homeless as families search for loved ones. A Georgia state official is concerned about possible violence related to election interference charges against former President Trump.
Somebody will be motivated by some of this kind of language at some point and do something stupid.
Appearing on ABC's This Week, Secretary of State Chief Operating Officer Gabriel Sterling said he doesn't think violence will stem from an organized group effort. He believes it's more likely an individual will try to do something. The top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee says he wants Congress to stay out of the Justice Department's business in the Hunter Biden case.
We have a justice system. Let's just let them do their job.
Speaking on ABC's This Week, Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin was referring to David Weiss being named special counsel in the Hunter Biden case. Raskin criticized Republicans who called for a special prosecutor, but then complained when Attorney General Merrick Garland named Weiss. The IRS can't find thousands of microfilm cartridges with millions of sensitive business and personal tax account records. That's according to a report from the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. The review found significant deficiencies in the way the IRS keeps the files safe. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Officials in Hawaii say the death toll from wildfires on the island of Maui is likely to rise significantly. China and India are holding a fresh round of talks to resolve a border standoff that has now entered its fourth year. China has condemned Taiwan's vice president for briefly visiting the United States, and Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg says Elon Musk isn't serious about holding a cage fight.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
A Democratic member of the House Oversight Committee says anyone who commits a crime should be held accountable. Speaking on CNN's State of the Union, New York Congressman Dan Goldman was referring to both Hunter Biden and former President Trump.
If Hunter Biden has committed crimes, he should be charged with them.
Goldman said political affiliation doesn't matter. Goldman also slammed currently elected Republicans for not saying Trump should be held accountable if he committed crimes. GOP presidential hopeful Chris Christie believes former President Trump will sign the loyalty pledge to get himself on the debate stage. Speaking on ABC's This Week, the former New Jersey governor called Trump's initial refusal to sign the Republican National Committee's pledge to support the party nominee misdirection and nonsensical theater. Christie implied the former president might not honor the pledge even if he does sign it. Greece basketball will be without its best player for the FIBA World Cup. Giannis Antetokounmpo announced Friday he won't compete in the tournament as he continues to recover from off-season knee surgery. The two-time NBA MVP said this was not a choice, but my only option in ensuring I get back to the level of basketball I have worked so hard to achieve. The Milwaukee Bucks said last month that Giannis underwent surgery to remove loose cartilage in his left knee. Supermodel turned actress turned therapist Shelley Smith is dead at the age of 70. Smith co-starred with Martin Short in the critically acclaimed but short-lived 1979 ABC comedy The Associates. She also frequently appeared on TV game shows in the 1980s. Her husband, actor Michael McGuire, announced on social media that Smith died at Hollywood Presbyterian Hospital on Tuesday. You're listening to NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. BIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. BIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with BIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take BIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Yes, lovely Monday it is, I might add. Anyway, Sam Bankman-Fried is headed to jail as he awaits his trial. The judge is overseeing the case agreed that the prosecutors who argued that the disgraced FTX founder was using his limited freedom under the house arrest to intimidate potential witnesses and leak information to the media. SBF's refs say that he has the right to defend his reputation in public. SBF will spend some time at a nearby detention facility while his attorneys on both sides figure out how to keep him in custody while also allowing him to review evidence before the October trial. His lawyers also filed an immediate appeal of the decision. This is all coming via CNBC. Yes, that's CNBC. So there you go. Some information right there. Here's the frightening power of compound inflation. CNN reports that the average American family is spending $709 more a month than they were over the last 2 years for the same goods and services. That's more than $8,500 a year. Most of the price surge was driven to and by the summer of 2021 spike in gas costs and pushed the national average well over $5 a gallon. Still, year over year, that basket of goods and services was up by $200 a month. That's as of that's as of the month of July. This is all via CNN. So what do you see with inflation? I mean, I will tell you, I'm just amazed on some of the prices and some of the surging and all that stuff that's definitely been taking place. But you kind of take a look at it and go, what are you supposed to do? Because listen, it's not like your job's paying you more money all of a sudden because everything's went up in price. So you have to look at all that stuff and go, well, what the hell is going on? That is for sure. So some stuff to think about. Anyways, think about this. An ancient community buried under the Lake Urchid in Albania is the oldest such site ever discovered in Europe. Roughly 8,000 years ago, people built houses on stilts and surrounded their territory with massive perimeter of defensive spikes driven into the lake bed. And archaeologists aren't quite sure what they were protecting themselves from. Since the ruins are underwater, the teams expect that nearly 2 decades of research and investigation to safely collect all the evidence to find more answer of these mysteries. This is all via CBS News. So think about that. That's interesting. What were they defending themselves from? Isn't that one of those things that we would want to know?
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, a new survey by Insider Monkey has ranked the drunkest cities in the United States. Topping the list for the third year in a row is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which an excessive drinking rate of 24.6%. Rounding out the top 5 of the drunkest city is Minneapolis at 23.5, Boston at 23.1, Buffalo at 22.8, and Chicago at, 22.7. The excessive drinking rate measures the percentage of city adult population that reports binge or heavily drinking. This is all, like I said, via Insider Monkey. Drinking defined, the CDC describes excessive alcohol use as binge drinking, consuming 4 or more drinks on an occasion for women, or 5 or more drinks on an occasion for men, and heavy drinking is 8 or more drinks per week for a woman, and 15 drinks or more per men. This is all, like I said, via the CDC. Well, that got interesting quick, no doubt about that. Anyways, take a listen to this. Frog legs, anyone? Yes, a family in Michigan was shocked to find out that find a live frog on an open package of organic spinach. The Pacific tree frog, which is a native of California, had camouflaged itself inside of a leafy green vegetable, which is, according to the packaging, washed 3 times prior to being sealed. The bag of spinach was stowed away, had a stowaway frog, were returned to the store where the amphibian was relocated by employees. Oh, so the thing wasn't dead by that point. Okay, I mean, I guess that's good. Just saying. I mean, don't you think that's weird? I mean, to me, that's pretty weird. No, seriously, how did it live in the bag? And can we see the bag? Like, what does the bag look like? I'm kind of curious about that, too, because I have no clue. Anyway, so let's continue talking about some other stuff, because that's what we do around here. Let's talk about the weekend box office. At number 10 was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny at $899,000. Yes. Mission Impossible was at number 9, Dead Reckoning, $4.6 million. At number 8, Sound of Freedom with $4.8 million. At number 7, Talk to Me, $5.1 million. At number 6, Haunted Mansion, $5.6 million. At number 5, The Last Voyage of the Demeter with $6.5 million. At number 4 was Meg 2, The Trench, $12.7 million. At number 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, $15.7 million. At number 2 was Oppenheimer with $18.8 million. And at the number 1 spot was Barbie with $33.7 million. That's what's happening inside of the box office, just in case if you care to know. Let's do this. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell's going on with the Market Beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, August 14th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets continued to decline last week after inflation data pointed to a high likelihood of additional FOMC interest rate hikes. The steady pace of CPI combined with hotter than expected PPI and rising oil prices suggest that inflation could accelerate and drive the FOMC to hike rates not one more time, but twice. In this scenario, there will be multiple bank failures and a curb on consumer demand unlike any in more than half a century. The S&P 500 shed about 0.5%, moving to a one-month low for the week. There are no significant targets for solid support above the 150-day EMA, so a larger decline is expected. A move down to that level would be worth another 4.5% for the broad market and open the door for an even deeper decline. This week, the FOMC minutes will give additional clues to the FOMC's next move and could move the market. You could get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the información on what the hell is going on, because we always would like to know what's going on inside of the world of the market. Here's what I was able to locate on my limited resources. The Dow added about 105 points to close at 35,281 on Friday. The S&P lost about 4 points to close at 4,464, and the NASDAQ lost about 93 points to close at 13,644. West Texas Intermediate closed at $83 a barrel, and Brent crude was at 86. The national average price of a gallon of gas was, increased to about $3.84 on Sunday. That's about an 8% week over week, just so you know. And Bitcoin was mostly flat over the weekend, trading right around 29,350. There was more than 4,136 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Sunday, and more than 169 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for, or Tuesday's not tonight's. Tuesday Mega Million drawing will be for a $36 million jackpot or a $17.5 million cash payout. Tonight's Powerball drawing will be for $215 million jackpot or $105.7 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. What do you think? I mean, I'm just saying, playing the game, because that's the game, the sad, sad game. Just saying. So let's get into it. Let's take a look around at what the hell is going on inside of some more news. Take a listen to this. Many families displaced in the shutdown of a Plainfield, New Jersey apartment complex are now sleeping at the local high school. Take a listen to this.
That comes after the state condemned the building last week, giving residents just 24 hours to vacate the complex. ABC 7 reports over 60 families are now staying in the Plainfield High School gym, sleeping on cots. Those families are being housed there temporarily while they await hotel vouchers. Plainfield's Mayor Adrian Mapp says the apartment complex was hit with over 250 violations that were never addressed in 2022. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. Here's the thing. How does it go for such a long period of time without anybody addressing exactly what's going on? That always makes it an interesting one as we are talking. Take a listen to this. Detroit, Michigan, a shooting on Saturday morning at the Burr Street south of 8 Mile Road on Detroit West Side has killed one man and 2 others are hospitalized. This man describes what he noticed.
All of a sudden I heard a few gunshots, so I just came outside, and then it was somebody laid out in the street. They got shot.
Police say that an argument between the 3 men led to the shootout in a neighborhood with lots of kids. The 2 who survived are hospitalized with critical injuries. No names have been released. This man says the shooting of 3 people is a scary situation.
I was walking past them and they arguing. Then all of a sudden they start shooting. What that leave me? You know, I might be one of the ones that get shot.
I mean, it's interesting when you start taking a listen to some of the stuff that's going on over there in Michigan. In that particular area. I mean, just take a look at it. I mean, as we are talking, it's crazy when we start thinking about what's going on.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, take a listen to this. A plane that crashed during an air show near Detroit was a Soviet-era fighter jet. The privately owned MiG-23 was participating in the Thunder over Michigan air show, one of the largest in the nation.
It wasn't until 2 minutes later when the police and all the boats off the lake all made their way over to the people who had parachuted out that we realized this is not a show.
Yeah, that was a witness, Lita Berry, who says that the 2 who ejected came down close to the building that she was in. Video posted on social media shows 2 people apparently ejecting from the plane before crashing into an apartment building in the town of Splinty is what it sounds. It sounds like about 40 miles east of Detroit. The two pilots were transferred to a nearby medical facility. They were in stable condition. The plane crashed into the apartment complex parking lot with no injuries. Well, that's good. Lita Berry describes what she witnessed when that MiG-23 crashed while taking part of this Thunder Over Michigan air show. Take a listen.
We hear like the loudest noise. It did not sound normal. We knew right away something was wrong. So we jump up and there are two guys right in front of us in parachutes.
Sounds like a very interesting time for sure. I'm not a huge fan of air shows. I've been to probably like 2 or 3 in my lifetime, which is probably 2 or 3 too many. But yeah, margin of error. Such an interesting thing to talk about as we take a look at those. But that's just me talking out loud there. So take a listen to this. A fire at a Boys and Girls Club in Muskin is being investigated, being intentional, that was set on Saturday morning. CEO Monica Turnbull says that there is smoke and soot damage in the entire building after firefighters put out several fires in the building, which was under renovation.
They would have had to break into the space as the site is secured for being under construction. I'm hoping that they're able to come forward.
Muskin's Boys and Girls Club CEO Monica Turnbull says that someone set their building on fire on Saturday morning.
I'm incredibly devastated. Our community's been working really hard and really coming together to rally around this building and make it a safe place for kids in the community.
It's terrible when you hear shit like that in regards of what's going on. What is the point of burning down a Boys and Girls Club? All it's doing is helping the people in the community. It's a very weird thing. You shouldn't burn down any building, purposely for any reason. But just think about it. So many things here in that particular regards. I'm just saying. Anyways, the NYPD is looking for the vandal who scribbled anti-Semitic graffiti on a Manhattan synagogue message board. Take a listen to this.
Police say surveillance video shows the man walking up to the synagogue on East 85th Street on the Upper East Side Saturday night, taking out a marker and vandalizing the display screen located outside the synagogue. It's the second act of anti-Semitic violence on the block in the last year. Police say back in November, someone threw rocks at the windows of the yeshiva connected to this same synagogue. The NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan, for the information right there of what is going on. Take a listen to this. A political science professor says that mainstream support in the U.S. for political violence is on the rise.
And it's not just about Oath Keepers, Proud Boys. It is now breaching into the mainstream, and we're seeing the consequences of that.
Speaking on CBS Face the Nation, University of Chicago professor Robert Pape, said that he conducted a survey in which nearly 50 million Americans believe that the use of force is justified regarding the second Trump presidency. The survey showed that 30 million supported using force to prevent the former president from returning to the White House, while 18 million supported the use of to bring Trump back as president. Pape says that sentiments on both are right, and that the left, both on the right and the left, are being radicalized by millions and millions of Americans. University of Chicago professor Robert Pape says that nearly 50 million Americans believe that the use of force is justified regarding the second Trump presidency. Take a listen.
What we can actually measure and see whether it's growing, shrinking, are the sentiments for political violence in the country.
Interesting times when you start taking a look at surveys like that, that's for sure. A Democratic member of the House of Oversight Committee says that anyone who commits a crime should be held accountable. Take a listen to what we were talking about earlier.
Speaking on CNN State of the Union, New York Congressman Dan Goldman was referring to both Hunter Biden and former President Trump.
If Hunter Biden has committed crimes, he should be charged with them.
Goldman said political affiliation doesn't matter. Goldman also slammed currently elected Republicans for not saying Trump should be held accountable if he committed crimes. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for that. Take a listen to this. The director of Federal Emergency Management Agency says that the Hawaii wildfires are likely a scene from a Apocalypse Now movie.
It's absolutely heartbreaking to just see an entire community that is no longer there.
Speaking from Maui on CBS Face the Nation, the FEMA director Deanne Criswell said that one of the most shocking scenes was all of the abandoned cars in the resort's town of Lahaina. Yeah, I think I said that right. And that's likely belonged to the people who jumped into the water to escape the fire. Griswold noted that one of the challenges is the search and recovery effort of having to determine if a structure is stable enough to be searched. She said that in many of the areas, buildings were completely destroyed or only partially standing. FEMA administrator also said that one of the scenes particularly really shocked her.
The row of cars of people that were trying to drive and escape and then couldn't get out fast enough. And these are the ones that ended up running or jumping into the water.
Criswell noted that one of the challenges is massive search and recovery effort is trying to determine the structure stable enough for the emergency crews to enter.
Many of the areas that they're in searching, there's structures that are partially standing.
So it's definitely going to get a little bit more interesting as time does go on. A Hawaii congressperson who represents Maui is calling for an apparent siren failure during the wildfires. Take a listen.
Everybody who's ever lived in Hawaii knows the warning sirens because that is our first line of defense.
The CBS Face the Nation, Jill Taduka said that they're tested at the beginning of each month, and if any don't blare, they get fixed. She added the electrical outages and lack of cell phone coverage, and some also contributed to many of the people not getting the warning signals about the fires. Hawaii representative calls for an apparent siren failure during the wildfire tragedy.
It goes off once a month at the beginning of the month at 12 noon and it blares. And if it doesn't, it gets fixed.
Jill also says that many people didn't get the warning signals about the fire.
The warning signals that were on cell phones, we had no cell coverage or electricity in some of these areas.
A lot of crazy stuff right there for sure as we are talking. Take a listen to this. GOP presidential hopeful Chris Christie believes that former President Trump will sign the loyalty pledge to get himself onto the debate stage.
He might not also, but I would not be the least bit surprised if he did. This is about Donald Trump keeping the attention on Donald Trump.
Speaking on ABC this week, the former New Jersey governor called Trump's initial refusal to sign the Republican National Committee pledge to support the party's nominee misdirection and nonsensical theater. Christie implied that the former president might not honor the pledge even if he does sign it. Christie admitted that he himself is not a fan of the pledge and told the RNC that he believed that it's a bad idea. Trump said that he would announce this week if he will be part of the first GOP debate scheduled on August the 16th in Milwaukee. Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie called the former President Trump's initial refusal to sign the RNC pledge support party nominee misdirection.
This is all kind of nonsensical theater.
Christie admitted that he himself does not agree, and this is what he had to say.
Way back, even before I entered this race, that I thought the pledge was a bad idea.
Okay, so there you go. Anyways, it is 33 minutes past, so let's do the thing that we do right now that we normally call our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Yes, main story, Rated R Safety Show. A lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to think about, a lot of stuff to go with. And listen, I don't know. I keep on thinking that it's time for us to talk a little bit, to talk about some of that stuff that has went on at work, some of that stuff that has went on in your personal life, some of that stuff that kind of holds you back, some of that stuff that we talk about main stories, but sometimes we don't talk about the meat and potatoes of it. We don't talk about what is deemed quote-unquote important to all, maybe not important to some. But I look at this and I go, listen, have you noticed that some of the things that are in your past have held you back from your future? I know that's one of those philosophical things that you're going to go, what the freak are you talking about? But think about it real quick. If you do things based on pattern recognition, which is a habit for the field that we're in, you might turn around and go, hey, listen, things are not perfect. Things are not great. So I don't believe that this is going to work because of the patterns that I've seen in the past. Think about it for a moment. Isn't that kind of how you do most of your job? Like I tell people all the time, what makes you normally really good at your job makes you probably terrible in personal relationships. And I can say that because I feel that that's how it works for me. So that's why I say that out loud. But listen, maybe some of that baggage from your past workplaces, from your past personal relationships, could be the things that are holding you back from moving forward in your future. Because isn't it interesting that when we take a look around at times, we blame the operational team. We blame the sales department. We blame that things aren't working because of X, Y, and Z. And if they would just follow what we had to say, maybe things would be better. Maybe that's not really the case for everything. Maybe what we need to start taking a look at is avoiding this thing of pattern recognition. And listen, this is part of being human. We have to get to the point where we're okay with things repeating to an extent. I'm not saying be an idiot about it. I mean, let's get that straight. But I am saying that we need to talk and we need to look around and go, hey, how is life going? And are we looking at this from the standpoint of, oh, we've seen this failure before? Think about it for a moment. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that as take a look around and go, hey, what makes the most logical sense? There's so many things to think about. There's so many things to go around and go, this makes sense for now, or it doesn't make sense at all. It's just one of those weird things. Because look, when it's all said and done, you're going to lay heavily into regards of what's going to move forward and what's not going to move, based on what you're accustomed to. Think about it. I know it's a rough one today. And some people might agree, some people might disagree, and it's okay. Because when we get to a certain point, we have to understand that what is holding us back. Is it the patterns that we are recognizing? Is it our mental model of what the hell's going on? Or is it something else? Sometimes you can even sit there and go, do I have the skill set to be able to move forward? Because that's the other thing that I've realized too, is that we get to a certain point in our career, and it's not that we know all, but some assume that we do. Some assume that we're good, that we don't need anything a little extra oomph to move forward. I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff to think about on this one. That is for sure as we are talking.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now? That live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Radio Big.
Okay, there you go. 44 minutes past the top of the hour. As we are talking and hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. This is hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff. lot of things to do, a lot of things to talk about. So, this right here is Step Rockets. Yeah, Step Rockets to my grave. Yeah, good stuff going on for sure. So, let's talk about it. Take a little listen to them. Little download, YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify. So, options, and more options. So, there you go. Okay, so let's continue getting into the move and groove of things. Thank you to Step Rockets to allowing us to play To My Grave. Yeah, because I like it. I like it a lot. Like it a lot. Like it a lot. Like it a lot. So let's take a look at this. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Write Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you've been before and where you are now. And things can get better, and healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. That's To Write Love on Her Arms, and click on the section that says Find Help. Not a problem, right there. Listen, they have all kinds of resources available for you, anything from the crisis text line, available for the U.S., Canada, UK, and Ireland, just to name a few. Also, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, Trans Lifeline, and the Trevor Project, just to name a few. If you want to know more, all you have to do is go to Write Love on Her Arms, TWLOHA.com. Click on the section that says Find Help. There you go. It's an important subject to talk about, not sometimes, but all the time, because, listen, I don't think that subject matter is something that is covered enough. No doubt about that. Anyways, take a listen to this. If this is fine Monday morning is not just doing it for you, you can take it this info to your boss. Another study suggests that a 4-day work week or shorter work days might be the best way forward. Previous research that shows the benefits of this way of working has showed that lower levels of stress and burnout and better work-life balance. But the new research looked at the opposite, the negative impact of not reducing hours of days of work and continuing to apply with the standard 9 to 5-day work rate. Research from the Texas A&M University found that the productivity dips towards the end of the day and near the end of each week. It also determined that after lunchtime, our energy starts to diminish and that more likely we make mistakes. And and if you get this to you, the boss, the worst time for workers in terms of productivity and errors is Friday afternoon. Also Monday mornings and Thursdays. Oh, and Monday is afternoons. And the days where there's meetings and the first day back from a holiday, and when a boss is away, and also the ending in donuts. So, I mean, anything that ends in donuts would probably be that as well. And you got to admit some of that because, nobody really wants to work on a Friday. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there for you to have information. Think about it for a moment because, hey, what else am I going to talk about? For sure. So, there you go. Just some thingy-ingies to think about. What else? Let's see. A penny not saved. A supermarket in Germany asked customers to pay a little more for some items last week. Now, with high inflation over the past few weeks, that itself isn't particularly noteworthy, but a discount grocery store penny charge more for things like meat and cheeses to reflect their true cost. And on the environment, people health as well. So to its 2,150 branches, Penny has raised the prices to 9 products based on calculation from 2 German universities, taking it into the account that costs related to the climate, soil, health, and water use. One brand of cheese rose from $2.74 to $5.33. That's an increase by 94%. Scientists determined that the Magnum cheese production costs 85 cents for emissions such as methane, 76 cents is for soil damage, and farming practices, 63 cents is for pesticides use, and 10 cents from the groundwater pollution. The Mullenhof Wiener, a brand of sausage, increased from $3.51 to $6.62. an 88% increase. Other products spiked upwards of 60%. Some customers approved of the idea, while the others called it a stunt directed at consumers and that it's the non-sustainable agriculture practices themselves. I wonder how Penny would have reacted to suppliers decided to do the same. You'll notice that they didn't put a surcharge on sauerkraut. That's because there is no accurate way to measure all the emissions that are resulting from eating sauerkraut. If you think about that, you'll really understand what the hell that means in the long run. So just some stuff to think about for sure as we are hanging out and talking today. Anyways, take a listen to this. Former Vice President Mike Pence says that his former boss and bad advice from crackpot lawyers about the vice president's role in counting election votes.
This group of lawyers that were allowed to counsel the president to tell him what his itching ears long to hear is that I had some right to reject votes. There was no basis in that in history.
Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, he also blamed the chief of staff, Mark Meadows, for allowing those lawyers into the Oval Office, adding that they shouldn't have been allowed on the White House grounds. Pence is among the Trump's challengers in 2024, the GOP presidential candidate. Republican presidential candidate Mike Pence says that former President Trump got bad legal advice.
It was a group of crackpot lawyers that the chief of staff allowed to be in the Oval Office that frankly should have never been allowed.
So it gets pretty interesting when you start taking a listen to that. A Georgia state official is concerned about the possible violence related to the election interference charges against former President Trump. Take a listen.
Somebody will be motivated by some of this kind of language at some point and do something stupid.
Appearing on ABC's This Week, Secretary of State Chief Operating Officer Gabriel Sterling said it doesn't think that violence will stem from the organized group efforts. Trump took out an ad and calls Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis and her office a fraud squad. Willis is expected to present her case against former President Trump and the grand jury starting tomorrow, and an indictment possibility coming later this week. Georgia Secretary of State Chief Officer Gabriel Sterling explained his biggest concern.
It's not going to be an organized thing. It's not going to be a bunch of conspirators together. It's going to be one probably mentally unstable individual who's going to be radicalized through this process.
So a lot of stuff going on right there. Anyways, with that being said, let's do some happier-go-lucky stuff. Let's go ahead and bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by RC. Bill Murray said, "Knowledge is like underwear. It's useful to have it, but not necessary to show it off." I like that. I was just having an underwear conversation the other day, but we'll leave that for another day. I was pretty impressed with a friend last week. He was involved in a conversation where the other person was kind of being rude to make a point. My friend calmly disagreed with the assessment. When the jerk was asking why he felt that way, my friend shared that, well, he spent 4 years in that specialty while serving in the military. That pretty much ended the conversation in a positive way. The rude guy even thanked him for his service. I loved that. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Amazon is opening new locations of primary care provider One Medical, which the tech giant acquired earlier this year. One Medical says it's just opened 2 locations in Connecticut, plans to open a third in San Francisco's Castro neighborhood, and will open its first Milwaukee office this fall. One Medical offers a $199 annual membership that gives patients treatment for everything from common illnesses to chronic conditions, as well as mental and sexual health needs with no copay or no additional fee. A Metro Atlanta hospital is being sued over the horrific death of a baby during birth. 20-year-old Jessica Ross claims her child was decapitated while she was giving birth at Southern Regional Medical Center in Riverdale last month. The doctor allegedly pulled on the baby's body for hours during the labor process. Health updates, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
That is pretty horrifying just to hear that whole thing. That's no doubt about it. The Motivation Minute's supposed to get us motivated after something, and then you hear that. That's terrible. I don't even know what to say. And that's 54 minutes past the top of the hour, not knowing what to say. That's, wow. Wow. Let's continue talking. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2021, It rains for the first time in Greenland ice sheet's highest point since the scientists have been making observations there. According to the U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center, rain fell for several hours over the area that's 10,551 feet up. An unprecedented occurrence for a location that rarely sees temperatures above freezing. The rainfall coincided with the ice sheet most recent melt event, in which the temperatures got high enough that the thick ice began to melt. So there you go. So, very interesting. That happened back in 2021. Let's talk about some birthdays for today. Miranda Rayo Mayo turns 33. Tim Tebow turns 36. Mila Kunis turns 40. Kofi Kingston turns 42. Chris Paris turns 54. Halle Berry turns 57. Susan Olsen, 62. Magic Johnson, 64. Jackie Harry turned 67, Mark C. Lee, 71, Daniel Steele, 76, and Steve Martin, he turned 78 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays for you. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. It's National Creamsicle Day, National Social Security Day, Pakistan Independence Day, and National Tattoo Removal Day. I didn't even realize there was a day for that. But there you go. I guess we kind of celebrate a little bit of everything if you really take a look at it. Anyways, before I forget, let me tell you about this event that's coming up, the Conklin Conference. It's a Safety Differently workshop. You're more than welcome to show up and hang out with us. In regards of what's going on in Orlando, September the 27th through the 29th, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.io to find out more information. Who will be hanging out? Well, Jen Long, Bob Edwards, Mark Yeston, Andrea Baker, and of course Todd Conklin during the Conklin Conference. And I'll be there to host. All you have to do is go to safetyfm.io to find out more information. The event's occurring September the 27th through the 29th. That's the 27th through the 29th. So there you go. Would love to see you there. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's talk about this real quick. If you need a random joke for today, well, I'm pretty sure I have one of those for you. Adulting is a soup, and I am a fork. So think about that. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's the most expensive thing you've broken? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. The average person will eat 3,135 of these in their lifetime. What are they? Bananas. Bananas. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, we cannot do what we do around here. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, if you do need a deep thought for today, I'm pretty sure I can give you one of those. There's no shortcuts to any place worth going. Yep, think about that. That's one to think about for sure. Anyways, thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
But the earth keeps sinking deeper and I can't escape. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's gonna carry me to my grave. Love and understanding and accepted your ways from the corners of the earth. Now where you scream my name, I'm just beginning to regret you and my ways. 'Cause I'm just too scared now, too goddamn scared to change. I'm just another soul trying to be saved. This love's